Hi.
All
right. Well, I guess she's not gonna do it. So, hi, welcome to Couple Conversations.
I was gonna say it was Showboy. That's why.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
panicked.
It's not. Nope. But yeah, we're back. It's been, I don't know, how long has it been? Like 2 months. I feel like since we've had an episode.
No, we'd missed 1 week.
You guys have one every other week?
I don't know. I mean, technically we'd go every other week. I can actually look right now. So, pause 1 second, guys. Doing
We should have done this earlier.
some research on the fly here.
Okay. He's gonna feel like it is YouTube.
But anyways, we're here, and we have some friends, some guests. I guess you could say relatives. Brit and Steve, my sister and brother-in-law. How are you guys tonight?
Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
Great. It's a great day today. It's warm. Got to build some more on my deck, so we're good.
Ooh.
Mike loves a good deck.
I do.
He literally is obsessed. I'm not joking. He's obsessed with like building yard spaces. He's been trying to get for like the last month. He wants to expand our tiny little cement like slab in our front yard. He wants to extend it to the length of our house.
I want to have a porch, a front porch.
We have a 29 foot long deck.
Yeah, in the backyard.
He just loves a good porch.
I'm all about that big deck energy, you know.
I was waiting for
it. He's predictable.
But yeah, we have an interesting topic that I thought would be perfect for you guys to talk with tonight. But before we get into it, I thought it'd be cool to, I don't know, let everyone get to know you guys if they don't already. Brit is my sister, unfortunately for her, probably.
She's like, yeah.
Yeah. How long, like, how'd you guys meet? How long have you guys been married, etc.?
How we met?
Yeah.
I'll do how long you can do how we met.
Oh, I went over to a buddy of mine, and she was living. Well, his girlfriend was Brittany's roommate.
I feel like it was gonna be a long, drawn out story.
Oh yeah, make it short and sweet. I ran into her in the driveway, and that was about it. I didn't help her with her groceries, so she was pretty upset about that. But she still wanted to go on a date, so the rest is history.
Weren't you wearing like dad shape ups or something? Wasn't that
New
like
Balance?
New Balance shoes? Wasn't that the joke? Not shape ups.
No,
he was working on his.
I just had a classic sandal with a sock.
He had sandals with white socks on, white crew socks.
Oh,
Nice.
Mike wears sandals.
I don't know if that's a step above or below New Balance, but it's like right around there.
Well, does it help if it was like almost, the sock was almost to my kneecap?
Okay, yeah, that's worse. That's definitely worse.
You were confident who you were, though.
So we're above.
But that was almost 6 years ago. So we've been married 5 years. Also, sorry about my voice.
Yeah, I've tried to get her to stop smoking for several years, but she just won't.
That was a good one.
Since an infant.
Yeah. And if anyone was curious, other than me, our last episode was on March 18th. So
Okay.
It's been like a month and a half. Just saying.
Pretty far.
Yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, so you guys like still like each other and stuff?
I feel like we like each other more now than we did.
Yeah. Like
3 years ago.
After even going through all that stuff that should break people apart.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot actually. We actually really like each other. It's cool.
That's usually a good thing for sure. Yeah.
Time to be healthy.
You have any questions?
No. Well, maybe to give people a little bit more background about Britain's. Well, ask the question first.
Okay, so the topic. So by the way, that was a failed get to know you segment that Bekah was like, every time we have guests on, we should ask them 3 questions. And I
don't remember any of
asked
the
one, and she
questions.
doesn't know any of the questions she wanted to ask. So that
Oh,
was,
I remember.
Questions down.
I know we really should. We're terrible at that.
They're both just like, oh wow, that's like
Yeah.
crazy.
Wait, I remember one of the questions. What do you guys like to do for fun in your free time? Because you do have 4 children with very busy
Free
schedules.
Like personal free time or together?
Together.
Oh,
Our getaway.
You said get away.
No, our getaway. No, Jacob.
Oh,
Jacob
Jake.
good stuff, man.
What's up, Jake?
You can afford kids.
Is that
so
Jake from State Farm?
Yeah.
Are you wearing khakis?
he's actually twerking in the kitchen right now. I don't know if that's allowed, but that's what's going on.
Nice.
no.
But anyway,
No, but we try to do every few months. We try to do like getaways, just the 2 of us with no kids.
those are very.
That sounds really fun.
Because date nights are very rare for us, so
Yeah.
that's our
We've
time.
never- Yeah, we've never have left. That's not that's a goal. to
We never
leave.
actually left our house.
Ever.
With that
Not-
kid.
I feel like that's good for any relationship.
Yeah.
To really do the getaway because
Yeah.
you guys are basically just there's no need for phones or anything. I mean,
That's true.
it's just
And like spending that intentional time together, just one-on-one, no like worrying about what the kids are doing or who has practice or anything like that. It's just like
Yeah,
the
that would
two
be
of you
awesome.
one-on-one, and that's it. That's all you focus on.
We should make that a goal for sure this year or something.
Yeah.
Mike is always talking about whenever I'm like, oh, we're gonna do this and this. He's like, without kids, and I'm like, well, no. One of them is still attached to me half the time,
Yeah.
but
We get to go on a date tomorrow, but is she coming?
no, is she
She
coming? The youngest baby that we have.
She's not?
No.
Oh. Nice.
Anyway,
I'm actually a little sad though, because she's my favorite.
Mike, you're not supposed to say that.
I'm just kidding.
that's funny. Do you feel like parents have a favorite?
I think he literally does have a favorite.
No, I just have a much different relationship with our youngest because I work from home now. So like I'm around her all the time. And I didn't work from home when the other 2 were this age. So they actually didn't really like me until they got a little bit older. But
They just didn't have you around as much.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but they just, you were gone
Yeah.
for 8 hours a day, and now he comes up all the time.
No, that makes sense.
It's nice.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow, this is gonna be what?
So Logan's your favorite.
Maybe. I mean, I did say okay, so on Showboys, which is the other podcast I do, shout out, go check it out. Over the summer, right around the time that Logan was going to be born, we were having our first really big guest on our show. And he just so happened to be, he's one of my favorite YouTubers, and I was super excited. But he was coming on was it the week before? Yeah, it was the week before she was due. And so I was just all right, if you can just stay in there until after this Thursday, you will be my favorite. And she listened. So now I feel like she has to be.
She doesn't listen now, though. She talks she's so sassy. The whole ride home we went to the park, and they were like, okay, everyone be quiet. Let's play the quiet game because it's very chatty with 3 girls. And she just kept yelling. Every time it was silent, she was ah! Just wanted to make sure we all knew she was there.
Yeah. But anyways, that's good to know. The getaways. I always see you guys post some pictures. And that would be a lot of fun. I would love to do that someday.
Yeah, then you get to pick different houses, different unique settings, different areas.
And you get to sleep.
What is
That's
that?
top on the list for me. Sleep, relaxation.
Yeah, I bet. You guys sure do have your hands full, which leads me into the topic for tonight. So each episode we pull a card. We pull these actually ahead of time. So anyways, they have a question that should spark some intentional conversation with your significant other. And they've actually been really cool and helped us have conversations that maybe we wouldn't have thought to have before. And it's been a lot of fun to talk about. This week's card says, what was a time in your life when you had to be brave? In what ways do you see courage in me? And then there's a verse here on the bottom from Joshua 1:9 that says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. But yeah, as soon as we picked that card out of the deck, I was like, oh, this would be a perfect conversation to have with Brit and Steve, because they've been through quite a few things that would require you to be extremely brave and courageous. So we asked you guys to come on tonight to kind of talk about your story and just learn about the like thought process and stuff that you guys had to go through while going through that situation.
Yeah, and like how it affected your marriage too. I feel like that's something that I don't even know like what that looked like for you guys, because that's like something that we've never been through before.
Behind closed doors.
Yeah, exactly. Like how did you remain like, I don't know, like still in love with each other and like find time for each other, and I don't know, all those things, with the journey that you went through.
So I guess it would be best to just have like, I know it's a super long story, but try to summarize it as efficiently as possible. Just so everyone gets kind of an idea. Yeah.
Like Brantley, right? Like you mean that that whole journey.
Yeah, yes, that's kind of
summarized.
Yeah, where your story started, right?
So when me and Steve first got pregnant, we lost our first baby. So Brantley, we had Brantley okay. Sorry, Jacob is distracting me and getting all flustered. We got pregnant with Brantley after we lost our first baby. So Brantley's our rainbow baby. I ended up going into preterm labor with Brantley at 21 weeks pregnant. So we ended up delivering him at 24 weeks. When we were in the hospital, actually, in the little, what do they call that? The triage room or whatever before you get your room. My water had broke. I was in full force labor. And the doctor kept asking us, like, are you sure you want us to try to save him? Like, if he comes out alive, are you sure you want us to try to save him?
All they did was give us all the issues he was going to have, like, when he got older, which he has all
truly and honestly, they were trying to talk us out of saving Brantley. They told us, like, there's a good chance, if he even survives past a few weeks, that he'll have lifelong medical issues, he could be handicapped, and just like a short life expectancy in general. And obviously we were like, do people even say no to that? Like, yes, of course, save our baby. Of course we want you to do that. So he spent 9 months in the NICU, a long roller coaster of 9 months. At 2 weeks, he had to have a major surgery where he was not really expected to survive. He had a 50% chance of survival. So just to put it into perspective, he was, what was he, like 1.5 pounds at this point. He was too weak for them to take him to the OR. They had to operate on him in his NICU room, in his incubator.
And they brought in a preacher to pray because, you know, that was 50-50 chance. Like, so you go in there and either he's, you know, not going to make it or he's going to make it. So they had a preacher come in and pray.
They had the preacher talk with us. They had all the nurses, the respiratory team, the surgeon team, everyone stepped out of the room. So we could spend a few minutes with him before the surgery in case, like, it was our last few minutes. So that, just to put into perspective, like, honestly, like, thinking back to it, it just feels like a scene from a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You like never expect that kind of stuff to happen to you. Unfortunately, that was just one of the many downs that Brantley had during his roller coaster. He's had over 11 surgeries. He spent 9 months in the NICU.
Died on the table, turned blue.
Multiple times. Had to resuscitate him. So it's just been like a very...
Well, yeah.
I don't even know what the right word is.
And the troubles along the way, I mean, don't, you know, add up. So, you know, we both lost our jobs.
While he was in the NICU.
While he was in the NICU, we couldn't pay our house payment. We spent so much money on gas going up there because we were there every day, multiple times a day. Borrow money for gas, you know.
And we have 2 older kiddos from Steve's previous marriage, Jacob and Maddie. Jacob, 13, the one that is distracting us doing all of this.
Working in the kitchen.
10. So during that time, they were 5 and 7, or maybe 6 and 8.
Yeah.
So they were pretty young too, and involved in sports, and they needed that attention too. So there were like a lot of days where we were having to decide, like, to leave Brantley in the NICU to go be able to take Maddie and Jacob swimming, or to take them to this festival and stuff like that. So it was like very hard. You're like being ripped in 2 completely separate directions, but they're all your kids, so you have to find that balance. But yeah, we both lost our jobs. We couldn't pay our house payment for months. Had to borrow money for gas to go visit Brantley.
So I said that's probably where, like, I felt brave. That was one of the questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or had to be brave. Would be at that point, because obviously she, you know, wasn't able to work because she was up there with Brantley. So I had to figure out, like, you know, be brave and strong for the whole family financially to, you know, try to find ways to make money, pay bills. So, like, building stuff, fixing cars, mowing grass, like any side job I could possibly do, you know, I would do. So, I mean, that's the time where I felt like I had to step up, be brave. And then also emotionally, you know, when he's dying on the table, or, you know, turn blue, or, you know, I still have to leave the hospital, try to make everybody, you know, try to get them to feel better, and then leave the hospital, try to go make money, you know, and then feel that they're left at the hospital, you know, sad or in pain or anything like that. So.
Yeah, from like a dad's perspective, I was able to, not able, but I didn't work. I stayed by Brantley's side and took care of Maddie and Jacob, like getting them to and from school, feeding them, getting them to bed, doctor's appointments, stuff like that. But like when I wasn't doing all that, I was able to be by Brantley's side because from like our point of view, we didn't know when was going to be his last day. I mean, he would get a blood infection. He would be doing great, and then get a blood infection, and then it's like he might not make it through this. So I wasn't willing to risk not being by his side. But from Steve's point of view, like he had to leave and make money to go support our family. There were times he wasn't able to be there for procedures, and it killed him. And then, yeah, he would have to put on like this tough face, which I never did. Like I'm already about to cry right now, and this was years ago, but he put on a tough face for everyone and held it together for everyone. So yeah, Steve had to be brave in a whole different way that I think a lot of people don't see as much.
Yeah.
No kidding. I think I forget about the fact that like guys have emotions, like that too. Like girls are just so vocal about their emotions and like vulnerable and stuff like that. And guys are like, all right, zip up the emotions, put it away. You gotta put it on your back and just worry about it later or whatever. But man.
And we would always be opposite with our emotions too. Like I like to leave Brantley in the hospital and like have to leave and not have my baby with me. That would just kill me every single day. And Steve would be so strong, have like a strong face, but then when we're in the hospital room and they lose his heart rate, he's turning blue, he's code blue on the table. I'm completely straight faced, not crying at all, like, and Steve's breaking down. Like, we're completely opposite with which I think I'm like in shock in that moment, so I can't even have any emotions. I'm just like, it really is like you're in a movie and everything is like in slow motion. Did you feel that way?
Mm-hmm.
And even 2 years ago when Brantley was in the ICU, we had to watch him be intubated. And that is not something you ever want to watch your child go through, get a breathing tube down their throat. And it was the same thing. You were like really breaking down and I was just, it's like I'm like not even in my body. I'm just like, what is going on right now? You're just in shock. But I think it's good we balance each other out and you're strong for me and I'm strong for you during that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, the NICU journey was just a small portion. Brantley's had countless ICU stays since then and diagnosis and all of that stuff. So I don't think the roller coaster ever quite ends for us, but
not as aggressive as
the NICU journey for sure.
Yeah. That's great. I know he'll be 5 next month. Oh my gosh. And next week, that's the 30 May. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like I wish we had like a picture of him. Like, this is Brantley. He's the coolest. Call Mike a cracker all the time.
Go ahead, keep talking. I'll find one.
You're gonna put it up? Yeah. You know how to do that?
I've been doing this for a year and a half. Yes, I can put a picture on the screen.
That's how I would do it.
Mike, I'm gonna have you train me on Excel some more. I'm trying to get this new job or new promotion, and I had to actually go through training to get the Excel.
Their own private conversation about Excel.
That's one time in my life when I had to be brave, when I had to train Steve on how to use Microsoft Excel.
But okay, so like from a relationship standpoint, like when you like, I mean, I saw like bits and pieces, of how you guys' emotions, of how you guys were processing and stuff. Like, were there days where you were on the same exact level of just brokenness and didn't know how to move forward from it, or were there days, or were you guys like pretty balanced that like some was better than the other, so that's how you lifted each other up and balanced it?
I feel like we still have stages where we're both feel defeated, and because like we're struggling with a lot of things with Brantley currently right now, and it's like there are those times where you just feel defeated, like what the heck, why is this happening to us? But for the most part, I feel like we're balancing each other out.
It's only when you can't like help your significant other, where it feels like you can't, then you feel defeated, because no matter what you do, it doesn't seem to fix how she feels. So at that point,
that's
but one thing, that's a good thing.
There he is. Old Brant.
Yeah, and he still fits in what 2-year-old clothes.
He just sized up to a 2T. So
I just love
we're
it.
in size 4 shoes, but we're in 2T clothing.
Like how happy he is. I love it. It's a
What is
little
that?
tongue
That's
action.
it.
Oh,
But so I did want to say something that happened when we were in the NICU, and I can never remember. I think it was when he had that surgery. Remember what the nurse told us about our marriage, our relationship?
oh yeah.
I think it was during the first, like during that time, wasn't it?
Might have
But
been.
you thought it was a different. Anyways, when Brantley was around 2 weeks old and he had to have that like major operation, we had fallen asleep. I fell asleep in the chair and Steve fell asleep on the couch in Brantley's NICU room. And apparently we fell asleep holding hands. And our NICU nurse at the time, well, one, she was like, I was going to get in your phone and take a picture because I was so cute, but I thought it would be creepy if you woke up. But
That would be so great.
she did give us like this little pep talk, and it has always stuck with me through all of this. But she told us the NICU journey is like one of the hardest things you'll ever go through as a couple in a relationship, just because you're literally watching your child fight to survive and not knowing what the end result is going to be, and that can be detrimental in a relationship. But she had told us this either will make your relationship stronger or it will break you, and you will never make it out of here. And she told us like that's what they see in the NICU. They see that tear couples apart, or it makes them stronger. So I feel like from there we like consciously made an effort to be a team and like stick together even through the hard, terrible, depressing times.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure like you probably had to be like extremely honest with each other for everything, explaining your emotions to get to that point in your relationship where it is as strong as it was during that, and not like, I don't know, hide your emotions or whatever.
Yeah. And we have not always been like as strong as we are now. Like we have worked very hard to have as strong of a marriage as we have now. I mean,
Yeah.
we would be lying if we said we didn't almost get divorced or split up in the beginning of Brantley's NICU journey. Like,
Yeah, you'll have that.
and
But I mean, it's just
that's just honest.
how you got out. Yeah, if you were still married as you get out, as you take your baby home, they said that's a very slim percentage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful that like, you know, that happened. But that's also sad to think about too.
Yeah.
That it happens
Yeah.
that often. Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand why. Like that's traumatizing.
Yeah. Yeah, but no. Like,
You
I
need
mean,
each other. Like, you really, I literally don't know what I would do without you. Even, not even the NICU journey, but like the issues we have today with Brantley's like medical conditions. I don't know how I would do that without you. So I don't know how people don't stick it out and like work on their
right.
relationship. That just makes it so much harder.
So what's a way that you've seen courage in Brit, Steve?
Just how she deals with everything with Brantley. Because I'm not always in there. It's like when she's defeated that day, then I'll help call and like talk to nurses, talk to nursing companies, talk to insurance companies, stuff like that. But normally she does it daily. So to be able to take care of, well, one, take on 2 kids that wasn't hers and treats them and loves them like they are hers. So that alone, not even having kids, that was from the get-go. And then to doing all that, and then having Brantley and Boo, and trying to, she works full time. So just all that stuff, taking care of the house, picking up the kids, all the stuff. Like the list goes on. But just being able to handle all that, and then still smile at the end of the day, still enjoy life. That's pretty afraid. And then all the stuff that Brantley's gone through, she hasn't, give up or anything like that. So very brave.
Right.
But it's fun.
Yeah, just sitting back from afar and seeing what you guys have gone through, I couldn't imagine having to like even see one of the girls have like one surgery, let alone like a massive, like complicated surgery, have complications, have like 20 other surgeries, have to be in the hospital. Like that just, yeah, it's heart-wrenching. And just the fact that like, we would, whenever we were able to make it down to the hospital or like in texts with you, Steve, or something, like just seeing you guys still like be humans and like still like be there. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Do you
I
understand
think
what I'm
that's
trying
what
to say?
you have to though. Like you have to still
Be present.
be present and like still find the positives and everything. Because dude, we live in the negatives and like you would never see anybody.
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave your house. Like
You like have to find like
yeah.
the hope or the light at the end of the tunnel because yeah.
To be honest, a lot. I mean, helps us a lot is being closer with God. We had talked previously with like everything that was going on. We weren't like real close. We with going to church. We haven't been to church since before COVID. I mean, we weren't praying as much or at all. Like just not kind of just shying away from everything.
Our faith.
Yeah, our faith, and then stuff piles up, and then it's hard to know what to deal with it or how to deal with it. So I
And I
feel
think
like
it's like very easy. Like as a Christian, you like feel like a bad Christian to say this, but like for me, I'm not gonna speak for you, but for me personally, like my relationship with God has been very rocky and my faith has been rocky because of the things that we've gone through, and it's just like a lot of why, like literally why does he need to suffer like this? But you like have to look at it from the other side as like Brad could have not even survived, and then he could have not survived birth, and then from there he could have not survived that surgery, and then from there his kidney disease could have taken him out by now. Like there's so many things that like we have to look at it from the other point of view. Like actually, Brantley is still here because of God, and like yeah, we've had to go through a lot, but if we didn't go through that, we might not even have Brantley. So
yeah. And then like I've noticed a scripture that popped up literally today was Exodus 14:14 or something like so. God will fight for you. So the thing that it went into, which I'm sure you guys know it, but the thing that it kind of went into was like how if you go down a little further, like how God works through others to prove that He's there. So I feel even though like I don't like seeing Brantley suffer, through certain things and go through certain things, but it seems to like obviously it changes people's lives when they see the story, sees what he goes through and what he can come out of. I'm not saying like I want him to suffer, but like some of those things where he is proving that God can take care of these certain things with people.
like God is real,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
Well, and like just I don't know, all he's been through, it's just like miracle after
Yeah.
miracle. Because like how many times have you guys been told like he shouldn't be here, or he'll never walk, or he'll never whatever, but like again and again, like God's there with him and helping him accomplish these things. But yeah, and as like someone who I don't even, how long have I been a Christian? I don't even know, like 15 years or something.
No, you're older than almost like 30.
Yeah, I think it was like,
like
when I was 20 or something, 19 or 20. Anyways.
And you're almost 35. So.
Yeah, that'd be 15.
Okay.
But like, there's also nothing worse than when you're going through a situation like this and people try to explain how God works, and every time I would see someone like, I don't know, leave a comment on one of your posts or hear someone when you guys would pop in at church and they would say something and I would just cringe and be like, we don't know how God works or why things happen the way that they do. So like to try to explain somebody's very tragic situation to them while they're very, very much so in the process of grieving because they're still living that situation, probably not the greatest thing to do. Like,
I feel like try to do that to us a lot, but I think we're so used to it now. We're just like, yep.
Yeah, but like I don't know. And then you guys talked. Sorry, I have a blanket on and I'm getting all sweaty now. This like the hope that we can have in Jesus though is like is what he promises, and that is, you know, when all is said and done and when the kingdom returns, like he is a God of restoration. And one of the things that always gives me hope in situations is like God makes dead things new again. So like, you know, once that promise is finally fulfilled, like Brantley won't be walking with a walker. He won't have a G-tube. Like God will fully restore him in the way that he was intended to be. You know what I mean? And it's just like you apply that across the board. Like, and I know in the short term that doesn't really mean anything because we're still living in the now and that's not what's happening. But like, I would imagine if I were in that situation, maybe that would be like a seed of hope for me to always hold on to. Like one day when God comes back and fulfills that promise, like we will get to see Brantley be free of all of this stuff that is, you know, ailing him right now. So I don't know if I just did what I just said is really stupid to do or not, but
our nurse, like when we're like going through a hard time with Brantley medically, like his kidneys are flaring up or whatever is going on, our one nurse has actually sent me a verse that was exactly that, and it does make me feel better, like to think one day Brantley will just be running around laughing, not in pain, no worries about just
needles,
just no anxiety attacks or panic attacks, just happy and healthy and not in pain.
We can change the channel anytime we want. There's no help.
You won't have to ask me anytime he sees me.
Right. Just change. Yeah, we'll call you Cracker.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, he's always grabbing my hand trying to make me change his stat.
Right. So he'll just know and he'll just do it. And that's what I'm hoping.
He'll watch something for longer than 5 seconds before wanting to change the channel.
Yeah, you have to know when you sit next to Brantley that you're in charge of changing the channel for
and you better be on it.
you better be.
Right, you're nothing, man. Like,
I'm done with you. Next, peasant.
Right.
He's off.
Very demanding. But yeah, I mean, it's rough on your marriage, but there's definitely things you gotta. Yeah, I guess you need to just work on it. Some people don't work on it. You
Exactly.
actually need to work
People
on it.
like get comfortable in their marriage and just be like, we're cool, like we like each other. But we consciously do work on our relationship. Like
Yeah.
we have like a love notebook, which is a very minor, but it is us work. It's something we need to work on. I don't know, I guess. But we just have this notebook where every day we each write something positive to each other in it. It can be a whole page long. It can be 2 words. Anything positive. I love you. You're so strong. You got through today. I can't wait to hang out tomorrow. Like just stuff like that. But we do it we're supposed to do it every single day. But that's our last page in that notebook. So that would be our second full notebook that we've done since we've been together.
That is
Nice.
so cool.
And I think we started that in 2017 too. So yeah, we've been doing it since then.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing that people like forget that relationships are something that you actually have to work at to be good at. Like anything else in life, I don't know. It's just
nowadays it's too easy for them just to get up and move. There's other people that
like when things get rocky, just whatever, bro. I don't need this anymore. So, but
like I don't want to sound like a giant boomer or anything, but like the perception of relationships is so skewed these days with unrealistic expectations where like things like social media and reality TV has warped people's perceptions of how human interactions actually work, and like people think that negative things don't ever happen and people don't ever disagree, or if you do disagree, like you have to be like against the person you're disagreeing with instead of like having a conversation and learning about the disagreement and trying to work through it. So people, the first inkling of trouble, people just, oh, I can't do this. I got to get out of here. I'm not happy. And it's
He watched a couple episodes of The Ultimatum. That's where he's getting all feisty about
this.
You
know, that Ultimatum show.
No,
that's a horrible show.
That literally made you want to flip every time you watched it.
Yeah, I'm such an old man.
Yeah, you were like, you're like, what is the point of that? That's terrible.
Yeah.
It is though.
Yeah, it is, but very, very entertaining to watch.
Yeah. Guilty.
Yeah, so I don't know how we would follow up your guys' story or braveness or courage. But I'm still gonna ask you anyways.
Oh, well, we talked about it earlier because we said the same thing. We're like, man, like,
yeah, like what are we supposed to say? Like,
we've been married for almost 11 years, and I'm like, we've never had, like, they've been married for 6, like, you've gone through something that's like people that have been married for 50 years have gone through, you know?
Well, I don't think, I mean, what they've gone through is something that like not many people have gone through.
Yeah, but the
trials.
A short amount of time.
I feel like everybody's got their own like extreme issue in their marriage, and it might have been big for them, not for someone else, vice versa, but it's still big.
Yeah, everyone's
perspective.
Traumatic thing is their own big thing. Like it doesn't need to be compared. Yeah.
That's true. And
well, a time in my life where I had to be brave. It's multiple times. Well, it hasn't happened in a while, but like when she would come home with like a new throw pillow.
Here we go.
No, but what's a time that you had to be brave? I can think of one for you, but I don't know if it'll be what you say. So say yours first.
I mean, I think honestly, like I told you this earlier, like entering into parenting and stuff like that and becoming a parent was like something that was like obviously life changing for me in that moment. And I had to accept that I was like, you know, not just me by myself and you, and like just like step into that role of like, oh, it's not about me anymore or whatever, and like be brave and put on my big girl panties and make sure that these kids were alive every day.
Closet room, okay, and that was great.
What'd you say?
Give up her closet room. Her
Oh,
room.
yeah.
That was a dream.
Yep, our
dream.
2-bedroom apartment, which really was a 1-bedroom apartment with an extra entire closet room.
And then I took it with us to our first house.
Yeah, like full with 2 like
it was like a
clothing
giant
racks
round,
from
Right.
store. Like,
it was.
Did you guys see the thing? Wait, did you guys see the thing on Facebook of OBJ's house in Cleveland in his closet? Did you see his shoe collection?
No,
Mike?
I want to now.
nope.
Holy, you got to. It's like a whole house. It's just he has chairs, all the like clothes racks. It's pretty wild.
You got very just
I'm here for it.
off topic. Like you're
He's
just
like,
so
"Mike,
much.
I-
You with Excel.
See, I want to be on a podcast. You know that
Should we talk about the
just
random?
talk about random stuff. That's what people love.
It would be so weird because you, and especially at night, he like. I think all the kids are in bed, so he's like, now I get to say whatever the weird things on my phone are, and he'll just ramble on about like the weirdest stuff. I'm just like, what?
I love it when Steve goes into those moments. It's like when I understand him best because I'm like, yes, that's how mine works.
Oh man, I was thinking a time that you had to be brave
For me?
Yeah,
Oh.
was during Logan's birth.
Oh yeah,
because we had a home birth, and you'd have to be pretty brave to do that at home without
no medicine or anything or
medication.
Yeah.
When they call it a ring of fire, that's a real thing I learned. My mom loves to tell everybody, basically. She's like, yeah, her head was halfway out, and Becca's yelling, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this. Call an ambulance. And she's like, and all the midwives are yelling, you have to do it.
Yeah.
I'm
just sitting there handing towels.
You are so brave.
Yeah, I could be a midwife.
He literally did tell them that.
Yeah.
He's like, I could get a job doing this, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, sure, Mike.
Also,
here we go. I knew you're predictable.
The most women I've ever had in my bed at one time. There was, how many people were here? Like, there was 7 people in our bed.
He literally said that right after I gave birth. He's like, I've never had that many women in my bed before.
Wow. I can't pass up a good dad joke.
You're predictable.
Yeah. But also that's the point of dad jokes.
That's true.
You
succeed.
But I get for the courage part, I would say that like most of the time you just like, you know, tie your shoes and take things like head on whenever there's something happening or like a problem we need to fix. Like you just roll your sleeves up and like try to take care of it instead of being afraid to approach our problems like that, whether it's something silly like with a doctor's office or like something between you and I or whatever, which, you know, a lot of people would just put off, you know, afraid of confrontation or having difficult conversations or stuff.
Thank you. I think it depends on the people too, though. Like we've gotten to a good place with that communication, I think, has worked out well. That's what I was going to say for courage, though, and you, though, because you've changed a lot, like, since we've first been married. I mean, I was very immature. Let's just put that out there. We got married. I had a whole room filled with clothes, if that says anything about my maturity level that I didn't want to share with anybody else. But I feel like you've grown drastically, like we both have in our communication with each other. And like I've said this before, but like it's so weird how much you've changed in like the aspect of like you come up and like apologize first or check on me first when like we're in a fight or whatever, when it was reversed, when I was the one that would always be that way. I don't know if that's like courage, but like that's just something that it is courage having to deal with me actually.
I feel like that's courage to apologize in a fight, but I feel like I've seen that in your guys' relationship.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. You've been around for a hot.
you guys just grow as a couple together, just watching you guys for so many years.
Yeah, we've definitely. I always say that. Like I'm like, oh, it takes a brave man to marry me at that age.
Yeah.
There's a lot to go through. But I will say, going back though, about a time they had to be brave, because I think, like I said, it doesn't feel like there was anything like super drastic in our life that was like.
So those 2 times Wendigo came on the podcast.
Yes,
had to be very brave.
You had to be very brave, just in case.
Yeah.
Anyways, when you were having like all those issues, you know, with anxiety and depression and stuff like that, like taking those things headstrong or like and going for it, and like you wanted to get better so badly for your family and your kids and stuff like that, you had to be so brave in those moments, I feel like, and like take the steps that you had to, instead of just like, you know, letting those thoughts just like continue to overtake your mind and stuff like that. That takes a lot of bravery to break out of those ruts of depression, alone, and anxiety. And I mean, like, I've been through like little spouts of those, and I just am like, whoa, that's what it's like for people who deal with it like a lot, you know? It's just, that takes a lot of bravery, I feel like.
Yeah, that was a weird time, because that's the only time I've ever experienced anything like that, and it lasted for like an entire year.
Yeah.
Or maybe a little bit longer. And it was not fun. And I'd never experienced like true depression or anxiety about stuff before. And now I have, and I kind of understand a little bit. It sucks.
Yeah.
Because like no matter how hard you try to force yourself to not think things or feel things, you can't. Like in my brain, I'm like, I know these thoughts that I'm having, which this makes it sound like I was like thinking really bad stuff, like hurting myself. I was not. I was just afraid I was going to die, because I'm like about to turn 35 and I had a panic attack. I mean, if anyone has listened to this podcast, I told my story before, but short story, I had a panic attack. I think in combination with something else with my diaphragm that made me feel like I was having a heart attack while I was trying to go to sleep. So then, even though like I know I wasn't having a heart attack because I wasn't dead or having other signs of heart attack stuff, I then had the thought in my mind that like maybe you have like maybe your heart isn't in great health and like you could have a heart attack, because I have 2 friends that around this age had very, very minor ones who weren't like in super bad health. So it could happen. And then I spent like an entire year in a very downward spiral, having basically a midlife crisis, thinking like, oh my gosh, I just woke up and I'm 35. Like I feel like it's been a year. Like, what's going to happen? How fast is the next 35 going to go? And then I'm going to be 70. And then, well, I might as well, like, I don't know, people die when they're 70. So like my life might as well be halfway over. And I just like super depressed all the time. Like everything made me cry.
Yeah, I've never seen you cry in my
and
life.
everything I felt in my body, I was like, oh, is this because I have a bad heart or something? Like, am I just gonna keel over one of these days? And like totally irrational thoughts. Like I went to, like, I finally found a doctor. I haven't been to a doctor in probably like 20 years. I don't know. But like went in for checkups and stuff, and they're like, dude, you're fine. Like, really, you're okay. Like, you don't have to worry about that stuff. So like the whole time, even when I knew that my thoughts were irrational, like I couldn't, like I know what I was thinking didn't make sense. And I would think to myself, like, you're like really being irrational right now, Mike. Like, just stop. Like I couldn't stop. But anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, other than like it's just crazy, and I hope I never have to experience anything like that again.
So that takes a lot of courage.
Huh?
That's everything you said is literally him, like spot on.
Now, mine don't last for like weeks or
And you
years.
don't get super depressed, but
But-
like he is so weird about getting older and
I looked up
death and
the same thing, and men usually last like 70. I just
Yep.
looked it up the other day, and
he
I was
literally
comforting.
just told me that the other
I'm
day.
like, oh, man, like, you know, it's gonna be, it could happen, you know, blink of your eye and stuff like that. But like, it'll get me down for like maybe half a day, or if I'm thinking about it a bunch, like if I'm by myself. But usually I can pull myself out of it. But a lot of it stems from my dad. He had heart attacks, triple bypass, like, and I just,
But you're done.
yeah, unhealthy, yeah. So, but I mean, that's what he, after his heart attacks, when I had my panic attack, and I thought I was having a heart attack. This is before I was like I was like 22 or something like that. And ever since then, I've had like anxiety and panic attacks occasionally. So I get it.
You know,
The
it's
health thing.
Mental health is important. Therapy and take care of your mental health.
that's true. Now, I will say that something that you told me, Brit, last year, right before my birthday, it like I think about it often when I got my hair cut like around my birthday last year, right before I turned 30. And I was like in my head about like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 30. I'm going to be 30. Like, how'd this happen? You know, like I'm getting older or whatever. And you said, why would you look at it that way? Look at it from a different standpoint of like, look at what I've done in 30 years. Look at everything that I've accomplished in that time frame, and look at what I'm going to accomplish in 30 more years. And ever since then, I was like, I'm gonna be 31 this year, and I'm gonna accomplish a lot more. So listen to your little sister.
Yeah, look at how many video games I've played in 35 years.
And how many more to come, and how better the graphics will be. But I feel like I'm not weird about age because, like, in my mind, literally, I don't think like, oh, I'm getting old. This sucks. I'm like, what a blessing to turn another year older. Like, we've survived another year.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. That's just how I think of it. And yes, just look at all you've done in 30 years.
Yeah, that was a very good mindset shift for me when I heard that. I was like, why have I never thought about it like that? I think society just like puts on you, hey, you're old, you know, you have gray hair and your body aches.
Yeah. But yeah, he still doesn't listen to me. I'm like, it's a blessing. You turned another year older. Like, you survived another year. It's great.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Closer to death.
Yeah. Well, on that super positive note,
thank you and good night.
Yeah. No. I don't know. I guess. Do you have any parting words of wisdom for people? Hey, Maddie.
Oh, you said hey. Brian.
Words of wisdom. Go.
Okay. Okay. You go first, actually.
We already said it, but like continue to work on your marriage, regardless. If you're in a good spot and you're just great, don't stop.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, and mine is not anything we talked about, but I feel like I always tell people this. Learn your freaking partner's love languages. Like, you're never going to get better in your relationship if you don't know your partner's love language. Period.
Very, very wise
true.
nuggets. I guess our advice would be continue listening to Couple Conversations and subscribe.
Tune in every 6 weeks. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, whenever we feel like actually having a podcast.
One year we'll be doing this podcast.
Yep. Thank you guys for coming on and sharing your story. Hopefully anyone who listens to this can pick up a few pieces of advice on how to get through their tough times. And I don't know. It was a very interesting, I mean, I wouldn't say fun conversation, but it was a good conversation. I don't think we've ever actually like talked about that before.
Like with them, you mean?
Yeah, like actually just
Yeah.
talked about it.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
It was a long
I mean,
one. I don't think
it's
you guys
not really
wanted to
something
sit down
that's
and be like,
probably
"Let's
fun
talk."
to talk about.
Yeah, let's sit down and talk about all of our medical history.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
yeah. I mean, one day they'll make a movie out of it. I feel like.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's on
Nice.
Lifetime.
Yeah, Lifetime mostly.
Yeah.
4
All right.
hours.
Well, is there like, do you guys want to people to follow you anywhere?
I'm
On-
always posting
on
Brantley
things?
updates. If you want to follow me, follow Brantley, our family.
I don't post anything but memes,
We
so
post funny memes, so if you're into that kind of stuff,
we'll
you
follow this
can,
guy for some memes right here.
he might
Where-
post a family photo.
Where can
Oh.
they find you?
what's your handles?
I don't know what my hand with my name.
Oh my, I no, yours is Morse Creation.
Oh, that's Instagram. Yeah, sometimes I just make reels, some funny reels. So yeah, follow me on Instagram.
Mine is That Hair Mama.
Because she also does hair. Shout out to local
Yeah.
peeps, Northeast Ohio.
She's really good at the Karen cut.
It's not a Karen cut. Okay.
As soon as she walked in the door today from getting her haircut, she immediately asked for the manager.
Get out of here. We need to go work on our marriage, apparently.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Thank you for anyone who tuned in and listened. We hope you enjoyed it. If you liked what you heard, consider subscribing or rating and reviewing us on your audio platform of choice. Go over and follow us on Instagram at Couple Conversations Podcast.
Sure.
And you can find us and all of our links at linktr.ee/ I almost said Showboys Podcast. Couple Conversations Podcast. Yeah. Until next time, hopefully it will come sooner than last. Good night.